Welcome one and all to Last Stop Penn Station podcast featuring Cary Silken and Ian Riccaboni. They dive deep into Cary's wealth of stories, and no subject is off limits. From the world of wrestling to his ticket agency, growing up in New Jersey, drug-fueled underground days, hustling in the French Quarter of New Orleans, and endless days and nights in New York City, every story is worth telling.
Hello and welcome everyone to another exciting edition of Last Stop Penn Station. It's Ian Riccaboni, Cary Silken. Cary, we're going to start off with what's been on our minds, the passing of Lambchop. You've heard her in a number of episodes, and I know it's been a long road, and she led a great life.
Yeah, it's been a tough week. Lambchop's been with us on the entire run of Last Stop Penn Station, and those of you that our regular listeners have noticed since early October, she wasn't feeling well, and AJ and I took her to the vet. She was 18. She was a little old lady, arthritis, liver, this, that, and you've been through it. AJ's been through it. I think everyone who's listened to this show, unless you're very young, or even if you are very young, you have family members, it's one of the hardest decisions in the world. So she had an appointment on Friday, and it's like, am I selfish? Am I going to keep her alive for my benefit? Or if I decide to put her down, did I do the wrong thing? Maybe she would have another few months. I mean, we saw her here where she, at times was okay. And at other times, you knew she was in discomfort. We're not going to dwell on it, but it's something that it's one of the hardest decisions anyone has to make, with a pet. And so Lambchop, thank you for the 18 years. You'll always be here with us, with me and with everyone. Everyone, and I want to thank so many people reached out to me. I posted on Facebook, and a lot of our pro wrestling friends that have been here. I mean, God, the Bucks have stayed here a half dozen times. Tyler Black, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and Jay Lethal, and people that didn't stay here and didn't meet her, just because you know how it is. You post things over the years, and they get a familiarity with it. She was also known on the craps table.
She was.
As well as the great Farina.
Nina for Farina?
9 is Farina. And somehow Lambchop became not just a 4, a hard 4. 2 2s. Lambchop. Bobby Cruz, when he called me, brought that up. She'll always be remembered. So we dedicate this to Lambchop. There's life and there's death. And speaking of life, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
When we're recording this on a Tuesday, Ian's birthday is tomorrow. The ripe old age of 34.
34, yeah, 34. Yeah, 34. The 30s have been very good to me. We've had 2 kids, and got to move back to my hometown and got to continue with Ring of Honor, and it's been very, very good. And my brother told me that. My brother's 8 years older, so he's in his 40s now, and he said, "You're gonna like your 30s," and it's been a good run. I'm liking where the 30s are going.
I remember my 34th birthday.
Really?
I was around my 34th birthday, and if you listen to last week's Last Stop Penn Station, when Big Rick saved my life when I was dying in my apartment.
Yeah.
And that was the condition I was in. So I think you're doing much better. I'm lucky I made it out of that, and so you're doing much better. But happy birthday. I love you. We all love you. You're a good man, and many, many, many more.
I appreciate it. Hopefully I'll be blessed to have many, many more. So yeah, it's surprising when the years add up. I'm starting to get that existential dread. I might go on a baseball card buying spree later tonight when I get home on eBay as a quarter life crisis or midlife crisis. But
34 is such a good age.
Yeah.
I never liked the song. It wasn't written by Clapton. Who wrote the cocaine song? Oh, damn it.
Well, he performed it.
He performed it, but it was written by, we'll come up with it, but where was I going with this? Don't forget this fact. Mm-hmm. You can't get it back. And he would not just talk about cocaine, but you can't get the years back. Like right. I squandered those years, those late teenage years in the 20s and into my, when I talk to some people that are struggling, and when I was involved with going to NA meetings, and I still speak to people that are involved in various issues. And one of my catchphrases is, "How old are you?" If it's a young person, "How old are you?" "Oh, I'm 27. I go, "Listen, it wasn't until I was 35 till I even, landed on solid ground, shaky ground, but it landed on it." So 34th birthday, you're doing great.
I appreciate it.
It's a good thing.
And I think it's so important what you just brought up. There are things that we all go through. I don't think you would have had the life with Ring of Honor you'd hadn't you not gone through those things. I think it made you smarter, it made you tougher, you learned things. And I think not necessarily everything happens for a reason, but I think you took the opportunity to learn from everything that you've done, good or bad.
Yeah. I'm going to give you, before we move on, some lighter stuff. I'm going to tell you something. And you're old enough now, and AJ is old enough now to understand this. I believe AJ is 42.
44.
Oh, sorry. My God, you're old.
Almost 45.
Almost 45. So, so for Ian, I bet 5 years ago, when you were 29, whatever, 28, going to be 29, you had it all figured out.
Yeah.
You knew what, and if you think back to where your head was at then compared to now, right? There's a big difference.
Sure is.
And then if you went back, to 24, right? And so me at 64, I thought I had it figured out at 59, and so on and so forth. But there's always room for growth, and some of it is, I should have done this, I should have done that. It's hard not to think that way. It's hard not to fear the future or regret the past, but you're in a good spot, and you're a wise man. And for the third or fourth time, happy birthday!
Thank you. I always appreciate it. So.
Hey, it was nice. The watch party on Monday night.
Yeah,
I didn't know what was going to be on.
Right,
and I don't think you knew last week what was going to be on.
Yeah, last week was a bit of a question mark, but it was fun to see our old friend the Blue Meanie on TV, and that was less than a year ago. That felt like a decade ago. I
was there. It was a best of the year of Ring of Honor, and it would be hard to sum it up into 3 matches,
right?
But considering the time restraints, they showed that battle royal, which was great. We got to see a lot of Ring of Honor favorites like Josh Woods, like Flip Gordon,
Kenny King. We also saw some guys that had some cool one-time appearances, like Blue Meanie, Gangrel.
Yeah.
And our old friend Crowbar was back as well.
Right. And I had
he'd wrestled a couple matches in 2019 with us too.
I'll be bringing up stuff maybe tonight, from 1973. But I had forgotten that Flip Gordon was under the hood.
Right. It was great to revisit.
So when I saw the surprise ending of the match, I had forgotten, and I was right at ringside.
And he still owed that title shot. And so PCO is owed a title shot. Matt Taven's owed a title shot. And Mark Haskins, who we got to see in a great triple threat match with Roosh and PCO.
Now, I was not at that match. I was at the night before.
Right.
I went to Nashville.
Yeah.
And
I had a feeling. I'd said, Cary, you might want to come to St. Louis.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. But, and that was the night we met David Arquette.
Right.
He came to our show.
Love David Arquette, yeah.
And that's such a great building. You would love being inside this building, AJ. It's this old, rundown auditorium. But for me, and I think for Ian, one of the highlights of the building is not, it's cool being in Nashville. And
it's in a perfect spot. It's right off of Broadway.
But when you go in the hallways, backstage, they have really good pictures of these great stars. Michael Jackson,
Rolling Stones.
Right.
Yeah,
Bowie,
A-list.
And the country stars, of course.
Yeah.
But when you walk, like if let's say you wanted to go get a refreshment stand, or you had to go to the bathroom, along the walls in those big corridors, they have giant blow-ups.
Jumbos.
Oh, my man. Jumbos. Giant ticket stubs. And a lot of them are the old original Ticketron.
Yeah, the kind of rainbow
early
Ticketron.
Ticketmaster tickets.
Yeah.
So me, of course, I'm like, come on. Where's Jethro's Tull? And there's you got an upper level, a lower level. So I'm seeing 9 Inch Nails. I'm seeing Black Sabbath. I'm seeing Gloria Estefan.
Right.
I'm seeing Leonard Skinner. I finally found the 1979 Jethro Tull stuff up there, but great night. And then the next night was the three-way title match. Tell us about it, please.
Sure. Yeah. Roosh became one of the rare 2-time Ring of Honor champions. A little help from Nick Aldis, who knocked PCO out with the 10 pounds of gold right in the noggin. Mark Haskins didn't figure into the decision, which meant that he was eligible for a title shot one-on-one at 18th anniversary, and then the pandemic happened. But as we saw the previous week, Mark Haskins took the opportunity and pinned Jay Lethal. He's still got a title shot, and Roosh is still the champion. So that's an interesting situation. We might get to see that match 1 year in the making at this point.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but that was our very last Ring of Honor show with a...
Right.
And there were a lot of people there.
That was the biggest crowd we've ever had in St. Louis. And a lot of people were writing Ring of Honor off. But attendance improved from the last Nashville visit to that Nashville visit, to the point that we ran the larger venue. And then again, St. Louis, our previous high was 2017. We topped it easily in St. Charles.
It looked great on TV.
Beautiful, beautiful venue. And I think there's a lot of great wrestling fans there, as we found out in the 55-5 series. Wrestling at the Chase has always been a huge... in St. Louis. And I can't wait till we get people back. We want to do it safe. We want to get the vaccine. We want to make sure everything's on the up and up. But man, it felt like 10 years ago, that footage.
Well, it did. And the last match of the watch party brought us up to the Pure Title Tournament championship match. Yeah,
incredible. Tracy Williams, Jonathan Gresham. It was announced today on Week by Week that Tracy Williams is actually the number one contender.
Deservedly so.
For the Pure Championship. And Josh Woods is right there, and Flip Gordon. So I'm interested to see if that'll get between them. If Tracy can hold back his personal ambitions and resist that urge maybe to challenge somebody in his own group. Jonathan Gresham, they're both in the foundation. Well, but what a great match.
I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah. A rematch of the finals. That'd be nice.
Do you... I'm putting you on the spot here. Do you have any idea what we're going to be seeing on this week's watch party?
We're going to be seeing a pure match between Rhett Titus and Flip Gordon. Rhett's on a roll. He's won his last at least two. He's won the defeated Delirious and won the pure tag match at Final Battle. And then we're also going to see the world television title on the line. Dragon Lee defending against Ray Orris of the great six-man tag team champions with Bandito and Flamita. He could leave a double champion, which hasn't happened a lot in Ring of Honor. It's happening right now with Gresham, but we could have two in the same time frame.
Well, it's good because if it was the old WWF, there were times where like Bob Backlund and Pedro Morales win the tag team titles.
Right.
But since Bob Backlund's the world's champion, they just, vacate it and have a tournament in Rio de Janeiro.
Or in Allentown, and the Samoans would win it back anyway.
Right. But yeah, and if you're wondering what we mentioned the watch party, we really should explain what it is.
Yeah.
Excuse me. If you didn't get to see, or even if you did get to see the weekend Ring of Honor show on the Sinclair affiliates, every Monday night, it's on the website.
Right.
And there's no charge.
Or Fight TV. You can download it right on the app, watch it on your phone.
And you could interact on Twitter with the stars of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun.
Sure is. And with that, I mean, if you download the Fight app, if you go on ROHWrestling.com, you can watch previous episodes, get caught up right away. And almost every TV episode is available for free. So that's not something you have to pay for. If you want to make the jump, sign up for Honor Club. We got almost all the back catalog up there. You can see everybody. You mentioned Kevin Owens, the Young Bucks, all those guys are on Honor Club. Go back and live their greatest moments, and go back and watch what Tracy Williams and Jonathan Gresham did to get to the finals. That was a hell of a tournament. And
if you're a fan of Last Stop Penn Station, you'll know this. But if you just stumbled across us, or you really haven't taken the time, check out the 55 and 5 series, where we look at the great Parkhurst wrestling cards from Canada from 1955. Where Ian tries to turn me into the village idiot and a simple Simon. He pulls out these. We have 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes to try to dispense some knowledge on these wrestlers, and it's a lot of fun. It's on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's also going to be on the ad-free. Yeah, adfreeshows.com, where there's currently Bruce Pritchard, Jim Ross, Eric Bischoff, Arn Anderson, Tony Schiavone, you name it. A lot of the biggest and brightest names in wrestling are on there, and that's going to be coming in audio form. We're going to package those and bundle those up nicely. And so you want to head over to adfreeshows.com now and check that out. We'll be up there, if not by the time you hear this, then shortly thereafter. And not to mention the poster of the week, which that's fun. So Cary flips the tables on me. Cary pulls out these beautiful posters. We've done ones from Jim Crockett Promotions. We have a couple in the can. So we've done one from Jim Crockett Promotions, one from Roy Shire in San Francisco, and then another from the WWF, if not Capital. I think it might have just been Capital Wrestling. Probably was just Capital Wrestling Corporation at that point. And I'm hanging in there, I think. I know really well. I know some of the names, and there's a lot of fun ones I didn't know that I'm learning about. And I needed the safety net. Thank God for Kevin Sullivan. Thank God for Bushwhacker Luke Williams. Mm-hmm. It's a lot better for me. It's a lot better to go to guys that were there or around there than to look up online to possibly misinformation. Sure. And I want to give a shout out to Tim Hornabaker, who for this great Buddy Rogers book, he's been chiming in. So if you follow us for the 55 and 5 series, and we know there's about a couple hundred that check us out on Instagram TV, and there's a couple dozen that check us out on YouTube. But if you've been following along, Tim's been chiming in with some great facts. It's always good to have that extra additional information. Cary mentioned Bushwhacker Luke. I'm going to hop in and go off script. There's a great episode, Bruce Pritchard show on the Bushwhackers. Oh, I got to hear it. You got to listen to it. It details their career in full. Conrad and Bruce did a great job. And I hope Bruce was complimentary. Very, 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 very. Gave them their due, which I don't think they get
as they should. So it's a great episode. Check that out for sure.
I wonder if Luke even knows it's out.
It's beautiful.
I'm gonna tell him.
And they talk about when Ray Rougeau gets his package rubbed at WrestleMania 5. One of the greatest attempted counters of all time. At least that's what I think.
You better talk more about this.
So at WrestleMania 5,
his package rubbed.
well, literally,
did he walk in with a box of something?
No.
What is this package?
I think it's Ray. It might be Jacques. Has Bushwhacker Luke up for a nice, simple body slam. And great defensive posturing. Luke just puts his hand on the package of one of the Rougeau brothers and just gives it a little rub. It doesn't block the hold, though. It didn't work. So unsuccessful. Gets body slammed anyway.
That was that little clip.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, that was good. And real quick on the 55 and 5, Johnny Rougeau.
Johnny Rougeau, yep.
I should have been able to talk more about this guy because he was one of the biggest stars in Montreal.
Well, that's premiering tonight at 8 p.m.
And I gave a very weak. Don't say, oh, you did fine. I gave a weak representation because he was a Bruno Sammartino of Montreal, a Dusty Rhodes. He was the man, and I sort of knew that, but I just. Well,
that speaks to, I think, the nerves. I don't give you any notice,
right.
No notice. So you're going with your gut instinct, and then there's Jacques Rougeau Sr. So you don't know. Like in my mind, I didn't know which one was which until I looked it up, because they're the original Rougeau brothers. So for me, if I hadn't had the benefit of looking it up, I might have mixed them up or hedged my bets a little bit on who was who.
Yeah. So. As we move along with 55 and 5, hopefully there's some that I'm gonna be able to, like Bobo Brazil,
right,
or some of these other guys.
Still have Buddy Rogers,
speak about.
Still have Luthez, still have Pat O'Connor. So some big names still to go on that series.
Yeah, a couple other notes here on our last Stop Penn Station. We were talking at length about this John Lennon documentary, and our fine producer AJ. Pointed out to me in my gusto to blubber about it was dumb luck actually that I was going to see Elton John the night John Lennon came out. The wind up was that he had been back in New York, maybe 6-9 months. But he still wasn't back with Yoko. And a third party had Yoko come down there, and that reunited them. Oh. And that basically got him on the extreme straight and narrow, retiring from music until the Double Fantasy album.
Yeah.
But I left that important fact out. And in other musical notes, and we like to talk about music here.
Sure.
And AJ turned me on to a really interesting, you would love this, on Netflix. It's called Song Explorer. And there's maybe 10 or 12 episodes. And see, when I say they're newer artists, that's because they're not from the 60s and 70s. Okay. But no, they're certainly not new, but they're certainly prolific. And the great Trent Reznor from Nine Inch Nails, it was just, once again, 25 minutes where they dissect the thought behind, the instrumentation, just the whole energy of what was going on with the song Hurt.
Oh.
Now, I was turned on to that song when Johnny Cash did it with Rick Rubin.
Right.
And that you've seen that video, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And
it's chilling.
But Trent Reznor sat, and they have him listening to these like original demos and how they were going to do it. And he was in a bad place. Substance-wise, he's been in a much better place for a long time, and AJ's a Nine Inch Nails fan, like you're a Bruce fan, or I'm a Tull fan, and they had great footage of various over the years, including Bowie singing it.
Really?
With them.
Wow.
And of course, he mentioned the Johnny Cash. So Song Explorer on Netflix. The other one we watched, and here's a group, and I'm going to be interested to your reaction to this group. A huge name. Mm-hmm. Have I ever went out of my way to listen to them besides their radio stuff, or like have it on my iPod? I don't think so. The great REM.
Yeah, I love REM. Gary Juster's a big REM fan. I'm a huge.
Well, all right. So, what song do you think that they keyed on?
I would hope. I'm not a hardcore REM fan, but I would bet it's Losing My Religion.
Bingo.
Yeah, I would bet that's the one.
And I've heard that song thousands of times, and it's a good song. It's not a song that would come on Sirius XM, and I would be like, let me see what's on the classic vinyl channel or the this, that, or whatever ones I might have preset. But it was very interesting. It was a song that wasn't supposed to, they never thought would be a huge hit. What was it? A mandolin? Right.
Yeah.
Has that mandolin.
Yeah, toward the end, especially, yeah.
And they interview these guys from REM who really haven't been.
They haven't been active lately.
Right.
In the last 15 years, probably, yeah.
So, Song Explorer, very, very cool stuff. Our last episode also, I got some feedback from some people online when I was talking about these drug spots.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
And
this is the correction and omission section of the.
It brought me something dawned on me, and I don't know if it's going to make it on this episode. It's going to make it on the next one though. At the same time, there was this conglomerate, and the ones I mentioned, the 50th Street. And the guys by Herald Square, and the random dealers when you walk down 8th Avenue, the guys selling the jumbos, and the various bars, the Full Moon. There was another place, the Wakabamba Lounge.
Wow.
And there was dozens of them that I wasn't even aware of. But also what was going on was the after hours clubs.
After hours. What hours are we talking?
Well, normal New York blue laws, the bars close at 4 a.m.
Okay.
So the after hours clubs would open up around 3 a.m.
Oh.
And I'm gonna get into detail on the next episode because I want to do a little more music. But
sure.
Do you know when they would close?
Jeez. Lunchtime? I mean, noon? 1 o'clock?
Could be noon, could be 10 a.m., could be 2 p.m. There's a story that I'm going to tell when we finally do this, and it's I've never told it on here. It's the story of the nice man. Oh. And he taught me that they close when no one has any more money left. Interesting. So we'll get to that.
Gotcha.
And talk about some of these places. But I came across something that another little quiz sort of, but I think you're going to sort of figure this out. Everything has a common thread in what I'm going to tell you musically.
Okay.
And I made a list. And all of these albums and songs have one thing in common besides that they're very good. Now, the ones I left off, because there was such a ridiculously good amount that all fall under one commonality, was Janis Joplin's Pearl album, Fragile by Yes, Masters of Reality by Black Sabbath. Al Green, Next to You album. Nielsen Schmilson. These were left off my list.
Okay.
Isaac Hayes, Shaft.
Okay.
A Nod as Good as
The
a
Wing,
Wing.
Rod Stewart.
Right,
Yeah,
The Faces.
The Faces, yeah.
Genesis with Peter Gabriel. You might not be familiar with this, but the Genesis fans certainly are. Nursery Crime. How about Traffic? Low Spark of High Heeled Boys.
There you go.
There's more that are not on the list. American Pie.
Don
Don McLean.
Which, that's not even the best song on that album. Vincent is. But that's
Vincent's is a beautiful song.
Yeah.
And Mountain, we talked about Leslie West.
Leslie West, yeah.
Nantucket Sleigh Ride.
There you
that
go.
album.
It's about killing whales, unfortunately.
Right.
But,
Wait, there's more. James Brown, Hot Pants.
okay.
John Prine's first album, self-titled John Prine.
Are these all the 1,000 albums you should listen to before you die?
Well, they are, but that's not the commonality, the specific commonality. Then you have, if you think of these guys as being too vanilla, you should listen to them because there's some really good stuff. The Great America album.
Right.
Sister Golden Hair.
Right.
and
Ventura
all the-
Highway.
Right.
Yeah.
On the America album. But that aforementioned list was trumped by some more albums. And I don't know if you're trying to come up.
Is this the best debut albums?
Well, we're going to make you sort of wait.
Okay.
Alice Cooper had two. He had the album Killer with the great Under My Wheels.
Yeah.
And he had the Love It to Death album with I'm 18 and No More Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
In the live category, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young had the Four-Way Street album.
Right.
The Allmans live at the Fillmore East with the hour and 20-minute version of Whipping Post.
Right.
Right? Concert for Bangladesh. I want to download this next one because I don't think I've really heard it. Sly and the Family Stone. There's going to be a riot going on.
Wonderful album.
So continuing on in this mysterious commonality, David Bowie's Hunky Dory album. Okay. This had Life on Mars comes up again.
Right.
It had Changes.
Okay.
It had Pretty Things. You had Marvin Gaye, What's Going On album. Santana 3. How about a little T-Rex?
Okay, I love Mark Bolan. Yeah.
You know, Jeepster?
I'm a Jeepster for your love. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Metal Guru.
Right?
Yeah.
And what was their big hit?
Get It On, Bang a Gong.
Bang a Gong,
Yeah.
Get It On. Now, also, talk about switching gears, but musically, still in musical genius, Carole King's Tapestry album.
Was the greatest selling album of all time at one point.
It certainly should have been. I mean, she had the Smackwater Jack song, which was...
A James Taylor song.
Right.
Yeah.
And You've Got a Friend. It's Too Late, Baby.
And I feel the earth move under my feet.
And there's one other big one from that. And there's more than that.
Fire and Rain?
Nope. So far. You need your voice.
Doesn't everybody stay in one place?
Right.
Yeah.
What a loaded album.
Right.
Now, if that's not loaded, you've got Elton John, Madman on the Water.
Okay.
With that song, the title track.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny Dancer's on that. Levon's on that.
Wow.
Van Morrison, Tupelo Honey.
Yeah.
With the Great Wild, among other songs, Great Wild Night.
Right.
You knew it was coming. Jethro Tull, that was Aqualung with the title track, Locomotive Breath, Hymn 43, Our Father high in heaven, smile down upon you, son. Cross-Eyed Mary, Rod Stewart, Every Picture Tells a Story.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Which also had Maggie May on it.
Yeah.
And I Know I'm Losing You. Not to mention Mandolin Wind.
Oh, that's a great one.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
I'm almost done. Led Zeppelin 4. Black Dog. Rock and Roll.
Yeah.
Battle of Evermore. Stairway to Heaven. The Rolling Stones, Sticky Finger. Wild Horses. Bitch. Dead Flowers. Brown Sugar. Now, Dead Flowers and Wild Horses with that Southern country feel. This was an album, I believe it was recorded at Muscle Shoals, or at least in Nashville. And they had that influence. And Pink Floyd had the album Meddle, Meddle. And the one song you definitely know from that is the great One of These Days, the entrance for Abdullah the Butcher.
Yes.
And we used to use it in Ring of Honor as the pre coming up to the countdown.
Right.
And and last but not least, The Doors, LA Woman album. With LA Woman, Love Her Madly, Riders on the Storm, Changeling. Now, what do these all have in common?
Oh, geez. Well, I thought they were sophomore albums at first, because you rattled off a couple that were second albums for groups. But Tapestry was Carole King's first solo album, and Led Zeppelin 4 was Led Zeppelin's fourth album. So that's not the case. And then I thought maybe it was artists that had been in different groups that broke off, because you'd mentioned Carole King and Rod Stewart, and because he was in Jeff Beck and then Faces, and then I have no idea. I don't know what the common thread is.
Well, it's insane. They all came out in 1971.
Really?
Every one of those albums. And what a body of music. I'm sorry, youngins. I don't think.
Wow, they all did. Holy crap.
So, I
got a question.
Yes.
I'm kind of a music head.
And now I have the order, by the way, of the top sellers, if you're interested. But go ahead.
I do. If all that good stuff was coming out, why was Chirpa Chirpa Cheep Cheep by Mac and Katie Kassoon on the top 40? Like, where's your mama gone? Where's your mama gone? Like, it's like a top selling song that year.
Well, I had, after going this deep into it, I looked at the Billboard Top 100 albums for that year.
Okay, I was thinking singles, but
now,
albums.
This is up your alley. Number one, we're not going to do all of them. Number 100 was Lee Moses, Time and Space. I don't know.
Yeah.
Please, AJ, if you know, help us. Staple Singers.
Yes.
99.
Yep.
Graham Nash, Song for Beginners. Three Dog Night's Harmony album.
Shambhala.
The bottom of the pile.
Yeah, that one had Shambhala, I think.
Here's an oddball. Split by the Groundhogs.
No idea.
And number 95, the MC5.
Yeah, kick out the jams, mother. Well, yeah.
High Time.
I have a Ring of Honor story about that album.
Go ahead.
Sure. Alex Shelley's from Detroit. And didn't know he was an Iggy Pop fan. And I thought I was doing a favor talking about how the MC5 should be in the Hall of Fame and they're overlooked, and Alex Shelley should be in the Hall of Fame and he's overlooked. And I won this big spiel, and I thought he was going to love it. And I didn't know Iggy Pop and MC5 are like oil and water, and you don't have to pick a side. But if you're an Iggy Pop fan, you might not be an MC5 fan.
Why is that?
I don't know, but he's definitely an Iggy Pop fan, and that's a lesson to any commentators listening out there. You might just want to ask before you go on a minute and a half diatribe about why this wrestler's like the MC5.
Well, here's another name that you're going to know, but I just know the name. I think you're going to know it. Link Ray.
Ooh, no.
W-R-A-Y.
No.
Self-titled. He came in at number 90. Wilson Pickett.
Yeah.
The Move, Uriah Heep, Rory Gallagher.
Nice.
The Isley Brothers.
Very cool.
I I know they're considered a little bit in the classic rock world. The Moody Blues have a certain
Nights in White Satin.
Well, there's a certain Moody Blues, but they had a great album. Every good boy deserves favor,
and they're one of those groups that was huge in the 60s and 70s, but only had like one Billboard hit. Like kind of like the Grateful Dead, where Grateful Dead had Touch of Grey, and Moody Blues had, that real poppy song.
Oh, Tuesday Afternoon? No.
You would know it too. We'll get you on the next one.
Well, they had Tuesday Afternoon.
Yeah, I don't think that cracked the Billboard charts. At least not in the way the other.
It goes on and on and on, and but just to put this to an end. Here were the top 20 albums from 20 up.
Okay.
Shows you how the world's changed.
And this is 50 years ago now, which is wild.
Number 20. This is Sales. Metal by Pink Floyd.
Okay.
Number 19. Ram by Paul
McCartney
and Linda McCartney.
Yeah. Good album.
The Great Masters of Reality. Number 18. Parliament Funkadelic, number 17 with Maggot Brain.
That's a great cover with the afro and
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Rod Stewart, Every Picture Tells a Story.
One of my favorite albums.
Pearl by Janis Joplin. Mm-hmm. Your boys T-Rex came in high here.
Yeah.
Electric Warrior. Yes was 13 with Fragile. 12 with Aqualung was 12. Bowie 11 with Hunky Dory. And here's the top 10. John Lennon, Imagine.
Okay.
That Allman Brothers Live at the Fillmore East, number 9.
Mm-hmm.
L.A. Woman by The Doors.
Right.
Imagine the Stones, Sticky Fingers, the biggest albums of all time, was number 7. Not that's bad. Carole King, Tapestry, number 6.
Which I think, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I think that came out in 70. I think she was probably in the top 10 for both years.
Could have been.
Wait, I think that was how big that album was.
And I had mentioned before about this live Sly album that I got to listen to because it was the 5th selling album of 1971. There's a riot going on. And we didn't even mention this fabulous artist. Number 4, Joni Mitchell, Blue.
Right. We have that album hanging up in our bedroom. That's one of my wife's favorites.
There you go. Yeah. So Sarah has really good taste.
Yeah.
And the top 3, number 3, Who's Next? Number 2, Led Zeppelin. 4. And the number 1, Marvin Gaye, What's Going On?
Wow.
So that was 50 years ago, boys and girls. Incredible. 1971. I mean,
where does time go?
Where does time go and where has music gone? And for such a body of work to come out in a 12-month period and have stayed relevant.
Right.
I think some of this stuff might not have aged well, but a lot of it, like The Doors, if that came out today, that would play like, it wouldn't matter. But that was our 1971 tribute list. I urge you listeners who haven't, who are music fans, who are younger, check out some of these.
Yeah.
Just check out a few of these. This is some really good stuff. And
my pick are Rod Stewart and T-Rex. Those are 2 of my favorite albums.
Amazing stuff. Amazing stuff. So that's what we'll leave the listeners with that for this week's Last Stop Penn Station. And next week we're going to get down and dirty. And how do you get down and dirty when the title of the story is The Nice Man?
The Nice Man. What a cliffhanger for next week, folks. We're going to bring in The Nice Man and so much more on Last Stop Penn Station. For Cary, our producer AJ from Basan Creative and Web Design, I'm Ian Riccaboni. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.
I thank God it stole the handle and the train and watched top. Oh, no, it just slowed down.
We hail you for listening to Last Stop Penn Station podcast. Rate, review, like, subscribe, and share on your favorite platform. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or at laststoppennstation.com.